What if I told you that the reason you're not wealthy yet has nothing to do with your circumstances, your education, or even your opportunities? What if the real barrier between you and abundance is something so subtle, so invisible, that most people live their entire lives without ever recognizing it? Right now, as you're listening to these words, there's a frequency broadcasting from your nervous system, a vibrational signature that's either magnetizing wealth toward you or repelling it away from you. And here's what's fascinating. This frequency isn't determined by what you think you believe about money. It's determined by what your body believes about money. Your cells, your neurons, your electromagnetic field, they're all carrying an energetic blueprint that was programmed years ago, maybe decades ago. And that blueprint is running your financial reality like software running in the background of a computer. Dr. Joe Dispenza's groundbreaking research in neuroscience has shown us that our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on our repeated thoughts and emotions. But here's where it gets profound. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what you're actually experiencing and what you're vividly imagining. When you consistently imagine yourself as wealthy, not just thinking about it, but feeling it in your body, seeing it in your mind's eye, experiencing the emotions of abundance, your brain begins to build new neural networks. These networks become the foundation for new behaviors, new perceptions, and ultimately new realities. The wealthy version of you already exists as a potential in the quantum field. The question isn't whether that version is real. It's whether you're going to tune into that frequency long enough for your physical reality to catch up. Think about this for a moment. Every millionaire started as someone who wasn't a millionaire. Every successful entrepreneur began as someone with just an idea. Every person living in abundance once lived in scarcity. What changed wasn't their external circumstances first. What changed was their internal state. They began to think, feel, and act from a place of wealth before wealth appeared in their bank account. They assumed the identity of abundance before abundance assumed them. This isn't positive thinking or wishful visualization. This is quantum physics. When you change your state of being, you change your electromagnetic signature. And when you change your electromagnetic signature, you change what you attract into your reality. But here's where most people get stuck. They try to change their external world while maintaining their internal poverty consciousness. They work harder, they strategize more, they hustle and grind, all while carrying the same vibrational frequency of lack that created their current situation. It's like trying to tune into a different radio station while keeping your dial set to the same frequency. You might strain to hear the music you want, but what comes through will always be static and interference. The frequency of wealth requires a different tuning altogether. It requires you to embody the feeling of already having what you desire, even when, especially when, your external reality doesn't yet reflect it. Your nervous system is the bridge between the invisible quantum field and your visible physical experience. When you're in a state of stress, worry, or fear about money, your nervous system is broadcasting a frequency of survival. And survival consciousness can only attract survival-level experiences, just enough to get by, just enough to keep you safe, but never enough to truly thrive. But when you learn to regulate your nervous system, when you can consistently access states of peace, gratitude, and abundance, something miraculous happens. Your electromagnetic field begins to resonate with the frequency of wealth itself. Every emotion you feel creates a measurable electromagnetic field around your body. Scientists can now detect these fields with sophisticated equipment, and what they've discovered is remarkable. Emotions like gratitude, joy, and love create coherent, harmonious field patterns that extend several feet beyond your physical body. These coherent fields have the power to influence matter at the quantum level. When you feel genuinely grateful for abundance, even before it arrives, you're creating a field that acts like a magnet for abundant experiences. Your emotions aren't just internal experiences, they're creative forces that interact with the quantum field of infinite possibilities. The ancient masters understood this principle intuitively. They spoke of it in different languages: the law of attraction, the power of faith, the principle of assumption. But now we have the science to explain the mechanism. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the emotional reality of already having what you desire, You're not just hoping or pretending. You're literally rewiring your brain and recalibrating your energy field to match the vibrational signature of your desired reality. You're becoming a living magnet for the experiences that match your new internal state. But this process requires what I call emotional courage. It takes courage to feel wealthy when your bank account says otherwise. It takes courage to feel abundant when bills are piling up. It takes courage to maintain the vibration of success when the external world seems to be presenting evidence to the contrary. This courage isn't about ignoring reality, it's about understanding which reality is more fundamental. Your inner reality, your state of consciousness, is the cause. Your outer reality is the effect. Most people have this backwards. They wait for the effect to change before they'll change the cause. But true creators, true manifestors, change the cause and allow the effect to follow. Consider the profound implications of this. If your consciousness is the creative force behind your reality, then every financial struggle you've experienced has been a reflection of an internal state. This isn't about blame or shame, it's about empowerment. If your consciousness created your current reality, then your consciousness can create a different one. The same creative power that manifested lack can manifest abundance. The same neural networks that generated scarcity can generate prosperity. But first, you must be willing to take responsibility for your vibrational output. You must be willing to become conscious of the unconscious patterns that have been running your life. Here's a practical truth that will change everything. Wealth is not something you acquire. Wealth is something you embody. When you truly understand this, your entire approach to money shifts. Instead of asking, "How can I get more money?" you begin asking, "How can I become the kind of person who naturally attracts and maintains wealth?" Instead of focusing on external strategies, you focus on internal transformation. You begin to cultivate the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of someone who is already wealthy. You begin to make decisions from abundance rather than scarcity. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. This shift in perspective activates what neuroscientists call neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new neural connections throughout your life. Every time you choose thoughts of abundance over thoughts of lack, you're strengthening the neural pathways associated with wealth consciousness. Every time you feel grateful for what you have, instead of focusing on what you lack, you're rewiring your brain for abundance. Every time you act from trust instead of fear, you're building new circuits that support prosperity consciousness. Over time, these new patterns become automatic, and what once felt like effort becomes effortless. The quantum field responds to your state of being, not your state of wanting. Wanting implies lack. It says, "I don't have this yet." Being implies wholeness. It says, "This is already mine." When you can shift from wanting wealth to being wealthy in your consciousness, everything changes. Your thoughts change, your emotions change, your actions change, and inevitably your results change. You stop approaching opportunities from desperation and start approaching them from confidence. You stop making decisions from fear and start making them from wisdom. You stop operating from the energy of not enough and start operating from the energy of more than enough. But here's what's crucial to understand. This isn't about denying your current circumstances or pretending everything is perfect when it isn't. It's about recognizing that your current circumstances are temporary and that your consciousness has the power to transform them. It's about feeling grateful for where you are while simultaneously holding the vision of where you're going. It's about maintaining emotional stability in the present while energetically aligning with your desired future. This balanced state, this sweet spot between acceptance and aspiration, is where miracles happen. The research in neurocardiology has shown us that the heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, up to 60 times greater than the field generated by the brain. When your heart is in a state of coherence, when you're feeling emotions like gratitude, compassion, or love, this powerful electromagnetic field becomes coherent and organized. This coherent heart field can actually influence the electromagnetic fields of other people around you. When you embody wealth consciousness at the level of the heart, you begin to influence your environment in ways that support the manifestation of abundance. People respond to you differently. Opportunities present themselves more readily. Resources seem to appear with less effort. Imagine for a moment that you could step into the laboratory of your own consciousness and observe the patterns that have been running your financial life. What would you discover? Perhaps you'd notice thoughts like money is hard to come by, or I'm not good with money, or rich people are greedy playing on repeat in the background of your mind. Perhaps you'd observe emotions like anxiety, fear, or resentment arising whenever money is mentioned. These patterns aren't personal failures. They're simply programs that were installed during your formative years, often by well-meaning parents and teachers who were operating from their own limitations around money. The beautiful truth is that any program that was installed can be uninstalled. Any pattern that was learned can be unlearned. Any belief that was adopted can be transformed. Your brain is neuroplastic, which means it's capable of change throughout your entire life. The neural networks that currently support scarcity consciousness can be rewired to support abundance consciousness. But this rewiring doesn't happen through willpower alone. It happens through consistent practice, through repeatedly choosing new thoughts and emotions until they become your new normal. Here's a practice that can begin this transformation immediately. Several times throughout your day, pause and ask yourself, how would I feel if I already had everything I desire? Don't just think about it, actually feel it in your body. Let the emotion of gratitude, peace, and satisfaction fill your cells. Let your nervous system experience the reality of abundance even before it appears in your external world. This isn't make-believe, this is rehearsing your future reality at the cellular level. You're training your body to recognize the feeling of wealth so that when opportunities for wealth appear, your nervous system will say yes instead of no. The unconscious mind, which controls about 95% of your daily behaviors, operates from the emotions and experiences of the past. If your past was characterized by financial struggle, your unconscious mind will automatically steer you towards situations that recreate that familiar struggle. But when you consciously and consistently rehearse new emotions, when you repeatedly feel the feelings of abundance, you begin to overwrite the old programming. Your unconscious mind starts to orient toward abundance because abundance has become the familiar feeling, the expected state, the new normal. This is why meditation and visualization are so powerful when done correctly. They're not just relaxation techniques, they're brain-changing technologies. When you sit quietly and vividly imagine your ideal financial reality, when you feel the emotions of already having achieved your goals, you're literally sculpting new neural pathways. You're creating a mental blueprint that your unconscious mind will use as a reference point for making decisions and taking actions. The more detailed and emotionally charged your visualizations, the more rapidly your brain adapts to support this new reality. But visualization without embodiment is just fantasy. True manifestation requires you to carry the energy of your visualized reality into your daily life. It requires you to walk with the posture of someone who is abundant. It requires you to speak with the confidence of someone who knows their worth. It requires you to make decisions from the perspective of someone who has unlimited resources. This doesn't mean being reckless or irresponsible. It means operating from trust instead of fear, from abundance instead of scarcity, from possibility instead of limitation. Consider how different your life would be if you truly believed at the cellular level that you are worthy of unlimited abundance. How would you carry yourself? How would you interact with others? What opportunities would you pursue? What risks would you take? What dreams would you allow yourself to entertain? The version of you that already knows their worth, that already feels abundant, that already operates from prosperity consciousness, that version exists right now as a potential in the quantum field. Your job is not to become that person someday. Your job is to choose to be that person right now, in this moment, regardless of what your external circumstances might suggest. The field of epigenetics has revealed that our thoughts and emotions can actually influence the expression of our genes. This means that by changing your internal state, you can literally change your biology. When you consistently feel emotions of abundance, gratitude, and prosperity, you're sending signals to your genes that promote health, vitality, and well-being. These positive genetic expressions create a physical foundation that supports the manifestation of abundance in your external world. Your body becomes a magnet for the experiences that match your elevated emotional state. Every morning presents you with a choice. Will you wake up as the same person who went to sleep last night, carrying the same thoughts, emotions, and expectations? Or will you wake up as the wealthy version of yourself, the version who thinks, feels, and acts from abundance? This choice, made consistently over time, is what separates those who transform their financial reality from those who remain stuck in familiar patterns of struggle. The wealthy version of you doesn't worry about money. They know it flows easily and naturally. They don't grasp or hoard. They give and receive with equal grace. They don't operate from fear. They operate from love, trust, and infinite possibility. As you begin to embody this new identity, you may notice resistance arising. Your ego, which is invested in maintaining familiar patterns, may whisper doubts, fears, and objections. This resistance is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something different. The ego's job is to keep you safe by keeping you the same. But growth requires change, and change can feel uncomfortable to the ego. When resistance arises, don't fight it or judge it. Simply acknowledge it, and then choose to return to your practice of embodying wealth consciousness. The transformation from scarcity to abundance is not just a personal journey, it's a gift to the world. When you heal your relationship with money, when you step into your power as a conscious creator, you become a living example of what's possible. You inspire others to examine their own limitations and to reach for their own dreams. You contribute to the collective elevation of human consciousness around abundance. You become part of the solution to a world that has been conditioned to believe in lack and limitation. The quantum field is infinite, and there is more than enough for everyone. Abundance is not a limited resource that must be hoarded or competed for. It's an unlimited creative force that expands through sharing and multiplies through gratitude. When you align with this truth, when you embody this understanding, you become a channel for abundance to flow not just to you, but through you to others. You realize that true wealth is not about accumulation. It's about circulation, about being a conscious participant in the infinite dance of giving and receiving that characterizes the universe itself. Right now, in this moment, you have everything you need to begin this transformation. You have a consciousness capable of creating new realities. You have a nervous system capable of generating new frequencies. You have a heart capable of feeling unlimited love and gratitude. The only question is whether you'll use these gifts to perpetuate old patterns of limitation or to birth new realities of abundance. The choice, as always, is yours. But know this: the universe is waiting to support your highest vision of yourself. The quantum field is ready to respond to your elevated consciousness. Your wealthy, abundant, prosperous future self is calling you forward into a new way of being. Will you answer that call? Will you step into the laboratory of your own consciousness and begin the greatest experiment of your life? The experiment of discovering who you really are when you're not limited by who you used to be. The transformation begins now with this breath, with this choice, with this moment of infinite possibility opening before you.